Welcome to Strip Talking, a podcast from stripwalking.com.
I don't understand this Whopper situation.
I did not eat tuna in college, despite my best efforts.
A branch of the Branch Davidians, David Cornish.
It's what brings fun to Vegas, math.
Usually that's one of the things that really comes naturally to you is insulting me.
All right, Geoff, you're the podcast expert.
Spider pig, spider pig.
Nobody's going to care. Mom's not going to care. She's glad I'm hydrating.
Don't put words in his mouth. Put monster burgers in his mouth.
We can still be friends.
I don't think so.
I don't know that I'll respect you as much.
I don't know that we can respect him at all.
Take your ketchup meat back.
In this episode, Mark from the 360 Vegas podcast joins the guys to talk about his new book, Vegas, From Fremont to the Strip, How Las Vegas Casinos Evolved.
Here are your hosts, and maybe.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Strip Talking Podcast, brought to you by stripwalking.com. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Jay, as you know. Starting off tonight, introducing Mike, who's with us. Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. We've got an exciting guest tonight, Jay.
That's true. Geoff with the G's here tonight as well. Geoff with the G, why don't you introduce our exciting guest?
Absolutely, Jay. Thank you. Yeah, we are super excited tonight because we have one of our, I would say, kind of almost Vegas mentors here with us tonight.
Aw.
It's true. We have Mark Wojtowicz, the creator of 360 Vegas podcast. But more importantly, Mark actually just released a book, and we want to talk to Mark about all that has gone into this book. It's pretty fantastic. So anyway, thank you, Mark, for coming on tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Mark's obviously his book is about Las Vegas, so he's actually a resident of Las Vegas. So we're glad to have him on tonight.
I'm one of the few that get to live the dream.
I think you're exactly right. But anyway, before we jump into talking about Mark's book, I kind of wanted to do a little follow-up from our last podcast. As you know, I did start dealing again at the casino here locally and had something happen that was very much a Vegas-y feel for even our local casino. It's not something that I think of when I think Central Nebraska. So I was dealing craps, which obviously we know that's my favorite game to play and to deal. But anyway, I was kind of the first base dealer to the right of the box. And I looked up. We were kind of slow. I looked up, and all of a sudden, these three players came up. It was an older gentleman, a younger guy, and then a gal. Well, the problem is this gal, I would venture to say there wasn't an authentic piece of machinery on her, if that makes any sense. She was exactly what I would expect to see walking up to a craps table in Vegas.
Right.
From the 20 shades too dark of skin to the to the actual sunglasses that she was wearing, to the fact that if I turned my head too fast to the right, I might have got my eye poked out. It's like, oh my God, this is just so not fitting of the Central Nebraska casino that I worked at. And it just made me think of how much I miss Vegas. Vegas is just, it's one of the things I love about it. It's just kind of over the top. You never know what you're going to see. Have you guys had any experiences like that where you just walk up to a table or something like that and you're like, oh my God, this person that is standing next to me could not be more fake if they tried?
Never.
The closest thing I've had to that is we were at a bachelor party at some casinos here at the state next to Nebraska. There was this young lady with a gentleman at the craps table, and I thought to myself, quite frankly, that I would not mind seeing her with her clothes off. And then later that night, we ended up at a male entertainment sort of establishment, and she was there with her clothes off, and it was pretty fantastic.
Right. That is Vegas-y right there.
It's perfect.
So she making some good money that night, let's say, yeah.
There you go. And how much did you drop?
At the craps table?
No, I'm not talking at the craps table.
Question. Yeah, I didn't think so. Memories are fuzzy.
Well, we won't make Mark answer that question because we know Karen's probably right over his shoulder. But
Well, and on top of that, I live in Vegas, so yeah, I see it all the time. There's tons of people like going, okay, it's clear why she's with him.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what my local casino's policy is on working women, but she probably would have fallen right into that category. So
Yeah.
it was pretty funny to see. But
That's the game the skill I'm trying to fine tune is being able to spot the hooker. I'm not good at it.
Really? You're still
Yeah,
not
I
good
suck
at that?
at it for some reason.
you know, as many times as we've been to Vegas or I've been to Vegas, it was just recently that I first got approached by one. I was kind of
Did you really?
I was kind of taken aback and then kind of like, wow, this finally happened to me. I must not have the old rich vibe yet.
I think I had, I don't know what vibe I was sending off, but the coolest time that I've been approached is when somebody's walking by, they're like, cocaine.
Nice. See, those are the stories I imagine. I imagine you have plenty of stories from living in Las Vegas and being on the Strip or downtown. Downtown probably more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, cool. Like I said, I just thought it was ironic that in the middle of Nebraska we have Vegas type experiences happening. So
Right.
it's fun. But anyway, let's get on to the main reason why we have Mark joining us tonight. Like I said, we have and I didn't specifically say it's Mark Wojtowicz Jr. is who wrote the book Vegas from Fremont to the Strip: How Las Vegas Casinos Evolved, and it's been out about what, a month or so, a little over a month,
Yeah.
Mark.
A little over a month.
Little over a month. And, you know, let's just start from the very beginning for you, Mark. I know that you're not a Vegas native.
No.
So let's start and maybe have you tell us a little bit about how your Vegas journey began. Maybe tell us a little bit about the first time you went to Vegas, and then we can kind of go from there.
So the first time I went to Vegas was in 2004, and it was more of a bucket list kind of a thing. Like I thought, I'm going to go see this place once, you know, and then I'll never see it again. But I want to say that I've done Vegas right. So I was real taskmaster oriented about it. Like I got to do every casino. I got to check out every one of these things, you know. So I got so wrapped up in that my first trip that I don't think I ever let the real Vegas experience sink in until the second trip 2 years later in 2006. We were staying at Treasure Island. And it was with a couple of friends that had never gone before. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you got to check out Vegas. So much fun. And it was more relaxed. It was more like we were looking for experiences to do together. And once I kind of got that, and I also got one of those rooms where right in the bend in the curve in Las Vegas Boulevard. So it was directly down the Strip.
Nice.
So I just had this amazing view every morning. And I'm like, I love this town. I don't know why, but I love this town and I want to know everything about it.
Oh, I totally get it. And, you know, the funny thing for me is that I was similar to you in that the first time I went to Vegas, which was like in 2002, I was trying to take in all the free attractions I could take in, which is crazy. I was a college student at the time, but, you know, I was focused on, okay, I'm going to go see the pirate show and I'm going to see the Mirage Volcano and I'll see the fountains at Bellagio and hitting all those things. And now looking back on it, man, I walked into the Stardust and walked out. I don't think I spent more than 10 minutes in the Stardust. If I'd have known that the next time I went to Vegas, it was going to be gone, you know, I would have done things differently. But you kind of have a mindset going the first time and things change as you visit more frequently, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
You needed Mark's book back then, is what you needed.
I did.
That is true.
I did.
It's true.
I did. Which is funny because another thing, for those of you that are listening that have not listened to the 360 Vegas podcast or have not really checked anything out along those lines, Mark has an amazing group of segments on the podcast that he has released, extra segments that are vintage Vegas, which is why I'm sure that you went on to do this with the book. They're fantastic. But that also brings up kind of a question of mine. What got you interested? Obviously, you like the city of Las Vegas, but what got you interested in the history of it?
I've always been into history growing up, but what really attracted me to Vegas history is how it has no reverence for it, how it'll move on, you know, without thinking twice about it. I mean, it'll implode a building that, you know, we look at as an icon and you're like, well, no, we got to make room. We got to make room for the next thing. What really attracted me to Vegas is that how many of those stories there were. Like, how did this get from here? This was just a sand lot that Helen Stewart was trying to give away, you know, because she thought it was valueless, and now it's going for $30 million an acre.
That's astronomical. It's mind-boggling to me. I know that when you were writing the book, you were concerned at times about how you would be able to explain to people the difference in dollar, like how inflation and how everything affected things. But to think that, like you said, an acre of property goes for $30 million, and back then people were trying to give it away because they didn't think it was worth anything.
Yeah. So it's just those stories that really intrigued me. I wanted to understand, what happened to the Sands and why is it the Venetian and Palazzo now? And tell me more about the Stardust. And I mean, really was the thing that drew me to Vegas. And this is what I think the market is searching for now is that key attraction. Like during the 90s, they just kept popping out new properties that were heavily themed, and it really drew people to it. And that's what drew me to Vegas was Luxor. I was like, I've got to see a pyramid.
Excalibur was so cool back then.
Yeah, heavily themed.
That's one of the things, and it's been discussed on many podcasts. Many people have say the same thing about how a lot of people miss the theming. I miss the theming. I hope, and again, you just never know. Like you said, Vegas changes so fast, but I hope we don't have to worry about when Excalibur is going to be imploded or when Luxor is going to be gone. Those, to me, and there's just something about that over the top. I mean, you don't get that if you were to go to Chicago or to New York or to other places, that you can get that concentrated, over the top, in your face theming.
It's funny you say that. So I've got a chapter in the book about Luxor where they go from de-theming when they're getting rid of the Nile River ride and they're trying to up their game. And the CEO at the time, or one of the chief executive officers, was like, well, in Vegas, people can go all over the place now to gamble, and they need to come to Vegas for a unique experience. And I'm like, and riding in a boat inside of a casino isn't a unique experience.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. You and Tony and Josh had put out that attractions draft, and I'd spoken with you a little bit about that, and it's crazy to me all of the attractions that are in Vegas that you don't even necessarily think about until somebody mentions them, and then you're like, oh, yeah, I got to try that. Or the fact that you mentioned that you had that little segment where you talked about attractions that were gone, and it's like, God, I was glad you mentioned the Masquerade in the Sky.
Masquerade in the Sky.
Very, very first trip to Vegas. That's one of the first things I remember was going to the Rio. We went and ate at that seafood buffet, and we got to see that Masquerade in the Sky. And I was like, oh, this place is freaking cool.
It made Rio, and then by Palms as an extension, a must visit because you were like, I got to see that Masquerade in the Sky. And well, since I'm already here, I might as well jump over to Palms.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree completely. Mike and Jay, do you remember your first time to Vegas? What your impression of the place was? Was it kind of like, like we were talking about, just in awe of the size and the over the top nature of it?
Definitely.
Yes.
It's like Mark said, you go there thinking you want to do everything and see everything, and obviously there's no way you're going to do that. But you also fall in love with it so fast that you realize you're going to be back a lot of times.
Right.
And I've been back a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all have, which is, I am jealous of Mark, just from the standpoint of, man, there are times when I'll just be sitting at work and I'll be like, oh my gosh, I would just love to go do something. Drive down there and just be among the sounds and the atmosphere just for 30, 45 minutes, something like that. But
see, and that's what I tell people all the time. Like, the only thing that's really changed for me moving to Vegas is that I have the shortest commute of all of us. I'm still the same nerd about Vegas. Yeah. I just now have the shortest commute, to go do it. So you're right. If I have a crappy day and I don't want to, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go down to Red Rock, or I'm gonna go down to the Strip. Like, you're 25 minutes away from the most fun you can legally have.
Yeah,
and sometimes not legally have, depending on the night.
Cocaine.
So I kind of got us off track there a little bit, but I did mention the Vintage Vegas segments of the 360 Vegas podcast. So what was it that made you decide that now was the time to put all that information that you had gained and garnered through your research and put it into a book?
It was actually a number of things. So it's something that I had on the back burner for a while. I knew when I was creating those Vintage Vegas that they were essentially chapters to a book, but it was putting together that book and actually putting it out that was the daunting task. So I remember somebody had asked once again, and it had been asked many times over the years when I was going to write a book, but somebody had asked it, and it kind of triggered that. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If I put them in the right order, I've got a narrative. If I've got a narrative, I've got a book. So I reached out to Dr. Dave Schwartz, who I cannot thank enough for this. I try to give him as much credit as I can for it because he literally mentored me through the process. He taught me everything that he could, showed me how to self-publish with Amazon KDP, and just helped me out along the way, like treated me like a peer. Like it was, and this is a guy that I've looked up to for a long time. I love his writing, and the fact that he kind of took me under his wing was... That's one of the reasons why this book happened, is because I had somebody to go, no, let me show you how to do it. You got it.
That's super cool. Again, I'm not trying to make this podcast necessarily an advertisement for the Vegas vacation coming up either, but when you announced that he was going to be at the meet and greet as well, gosh, that's going to be so cool. I cannot wait to get out there, see everybody again, and get to meet him as well. Gosh, yeah, there's going between you and Dr. Dave, there's going to be so much Vegas history knowledge in that building.
Yeah.
I don't know. Will the pyramid hold us all? No, it's cool. I do have a question though. From all this research that you've done, what would you say your favorite Vegas tidbit, story, quirky information that you found over the years would you say is your favorite?
Wow, that's a great one. I think I'm going to go with Tony Cornero, just because this is a guy that refused to quit. He came to Vegas. He opened the Meadows, the original Vegas property, just off Fremont Street, and it ended up going off to California and doing the gambling boats, which is a hilarious story. A quick sidetrack on that is, so California for a while had these old military ships that they converted into casinos that they would then dock 3.1 miles off the coast, because then it was in international waters, and they just kept... like it's just stories like that, and then Tony comes back and ends up building, or at least has the idea to build, the Stardust. So Tony's just another one of those characters in Vegas history that I don't know, I love him.
And that's the funny thing about some of those Vegas characters, and just from listening to the podcast and reading the book and such, they may not have always been the greatest of individual people.
Oh yeah,
but the creative nature that they, 3.3 miles out is international waters. 3.1, we're putting those boats and we're making money and figuring out how to get people on them. I love the story in the book about the gentleman at the El Cortez, when that all kind of settled out, that they had to house and feed just because he was part of the purchase of the property.
That's right.
I can't think what his name is, but
I think it's Fat Irish Green. I think
there you go. There you go. You bought the property and you got a guy that came along with it. So
right,
it's pretty wild.
How long did it take from the point you said you were going to write the book until it seemed to happen really, really fast?
So it took me, I tell everybody, it took me 13 years to write and research. It took me 4 days to put it into a book format. Because once the inspiration hit, and once I got it, because like anybody who's seen my show notes, everything is bullet pointed. So I basically had the story there. I just needed to put it into paragraphs and proper sentence structure and clean it up. So yeah, once inspiration hit, 4 days. It took 4 days to get there, and then
awesome.
That happened in June, I think it was.
Was it right after the Vegas vacation?
Yes.
It was right after Vegas vacation.
I went through a huge inspiration wave where I started planning Vegas Vacation 15 and 16 and 17, and then started working on this and this next thing, and then the book idea came up. Like let's do a book.
That's awesome how fast that came together. It's incredible when you think about it.
Unheard of.
But yeah, June to February is when it finally got released. So it took that much time in between, just getting notes back and forth and the editors. And that's the one thing that I've never been great at patience. And that's the one thing I've had to learn with this, is that everything with a book is waiting. It's writing, waiting for it to be finished, then handing it off to the editor, and then wait for the editor to be done, and then for the illustrator to be done, and then for it to be published, and then for people to actually read it and get feedback from it. So I've had to learn to hone that skill.
I would have to say, since it's been done now for a month and a half, and I'm sure you've gotten feedback from a variety of sources. I know Amazon has a fair number of reviews already, and I'm sure just from friends and colleagues that have read it and spoken with you about it, it has to be rewarding. Do you feel a sense of accomplishment from this?
Oh yeah, big time. This was definitely a bucket list item. And I think it is for a lot of people. So just the idea that I was able to put something like this together and be the subject matter that it is. I think what's really still sinking in is the titles that I now have. I'm now officially an author. I'm now officially a Vegas historian. And these are things that I strived for when I first started to learn about the city. Like, oh, I would love to become like an expert about this stuff. So it's very rewarding and humbling at the same time. Like, oh, wow, I actually did it.
So cool.
It is, and you can always tell Karen, well, did you ever write a book?
I know, right? It's funny you said that. I had an argument with her the other day, and I told her, I literally wrote a book about this.
How'd that go?
I won the argument, surprisingly.
Well, there might be a Vegas first. A guy won an argument with his wife.
Exactly.
Would she agree that you won the argument, though?
Every once in a while, the dice roll the right way.
Oh, we kid Karen, but we love her. Mike and I met you it's been about 2 years ago, if you can believe that, Mark. I can't believe it's been that long ago that we met you. And it was one of those deals where we were out in Vegas, and I told Mike, I was like, I'm just going to send a message. The worst they'll say is nobody will answer. And then like 2 minutes later, you responded and you met us there. So anybody that's not met Mark and Karen and you're in Vegas, send them a message. They're some of the most genuine people you'll ever get to meet. So
yeah, I tell people all the time, if you listen to our show and you like us, I mean, that's us. That's genuinely who we are. And then we look at it like this. If you like us and we already like Vegas together, we've got a built-in foundation for a friendship. So there's pretty good odds that we're going to get along. So yeah, reach out. I mean, it's like you said, worst case scenario, unfortunately our lives exist and we've got to comply with those. But for the most part, yeah, I'd rather have right of first refusal.
Right. Ironic about that whole deal, and I don't know if you remember this, but I remember we exchanged phone numbers that night, and I was going to text you and let you know where to meet, and I texted and didn't hear anything from you, and I thought, oh, okay, well, they got busy or whatever. And then the next morning you texted me back and said, hey, I never heard from you. And I was like, well, shit, that's because I texted the wrong phone number. So, and Mike's just shaking his head like, oh my God.
Classic Geoff.
Is there anything else that you'd like to specifically say about the book, Mark? I mean, I'm not completely through it. I'm most of the way through it. Got it right here. It is so freaking good.
She's hefty.
I sit down at night and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to read 2 chapters. Just 2 chapters. I've got to get to bed. And then I end up reading way more than 2 chapters. So
that's awesome. That's great to hear. Like, I love the idea that I can take somebody's attention and just kind of whisk them away from life for a little bit of a while. That's so cool.
Yeah, we appreciate it. That's part of the reason when we started the whole strip walking thing is that we were kind of Vegas nerds to begin with, and we wanted a way to be able to be there at times when we weren't. And then knowing you and knowing Tony and Karen, and haven't met Josh yet, but we'll get to meet Josh at Vegas Vacation this summer, so we're excited about that.
Don't jinx it.
There's such a connection, I think, like you said. We all love Vegas. If not the same aspects of Vegas, there's enough crossover that we all have that common bond, common thread. When we went to Vegas Vacation last summer, I didn't see much of Vegas, to be honest, that time, because we were all hanging out and it was such a blast. It was the first time I'd experienced Vegas in that way. Can't wait for June. Can't wait to get back out there to do it in that way again. So
that's awesome. Thanks.
Mark, has anyone other than Geoff ever been cut off from a Vegas Vacation event?
Oh, see, now you're putting me on the spot. Somebody had to have. And if they didn't, somebody should be fired for not doing it.
I doubt anybody but Geoff had.
I knew that was probably going to come up during this segment or this episode. I have no defense, But at the same time, I had a freaking blast. And as long as I wasn't annoying anybody else other than the bartender or the server, then I guess I don't really apologize.
Maybe we should run down what is the schedule for Vegas Vacation.
Oh, we could do that. Yeah. Mark, do you want to talk about Vegas Vacation a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So Vegas Vacation is it's just a listener meetup that we do every year. This year it's going to be June 22nd through the 24th. We've got, so I'm going to give you a schedule of things, but I don't want you to think that this is schedule regimented. This is more, we understand that you're in Vegas, and if you're having fun, you get sidetracked, this is your opportunity to take a look and see where we're at so you can kind of catch up with us. So Sunday, June 22nd at 4 p.m., we're doing a meet and greet at the Downtown Grand. At 6 p.m., we're doing group gaming at Downtown Grand, which if you haven't done group gaming, that's life-changing. I mean, that's amazing. When you sit down at a blackjack table and you take every single seat, or even better, if you go to a craps table with 20 people and take that thing over, like that's a religious experience. That's amazing. Following that, we got Monday the 23rd at 1 p.m. We're doing Playground at Luxor. That's an RSVP that does require a deposit, because they're not giving it to us for free.
Right. It is still Vegas.
Right. Yeah. 6 p.m. we're doing the 360 Vegas family meet and greet at Central Bar at Luxor. That's going to be featuring this year Vital Vegas, Vegas Near Me, yourselves, Strip Walking, Pennies for Vegas. You can bet on that, and Dr. Dave Schwartz. And then following that Tuesday on the 24th at 1 p.m., we have the 360 Vegas Cocktails event. That's another RSVP, but don't bother. It's already sold out. And then 7 p.m., we've got the Swingers Club at Mandalay Bay. That's another RSVP that, unfortunately, right now we're taking names, but we can't promise anything. We tried to negotiate with them, and they're real regimented about only working like 2 months out. So they won't even talk to us until April. So we're like, all right, fine. So we know what we can get away with without their help, but now we need their help to be able to accommodate more people.
Jay, Swingers Club is golf. Settle down.
Oh, gotcha.
The funny thing is, and I know you have said this, Mark, over the past couple of years, that Vegas Vacation is like a family reunion, but actually with people you want to see and hang around with.
Yes, thank you that's a great quote from me.
and it's 100% right. When Mike and I and his wife went last year, the only person that we knew was you, Mark. We'd never met Karen. We'd never met Tony. We knew nobody. And within 24 hours, we had Mike eating sushi and going to dinner with people that we'd never met. I mean, it was crazy. And, I still talk to those, I text with those people. It's awesome. I can't recommend Vegas Vacation enough.
I call 360 Vegas the greatest friend filter that's ever existed, because we've met some of the greatest people, like literally some of the best people that I've met in my entire life, that I call my closest friends, all because of this show. I mean, and it just, like I said, if you listen to it, I mean, if we're not your cup of tea, that's totally cool. But if you listen to it and you're like, those guys are funny, they sound like they're having a good time, I'd love to hang out with them and do something like that. Well, that's us. That's us 100% on the show. Even the bickering between my wife and I mean, that's us. Man. If that makes you uncomfortable, you're not going to like our show.
Makes me feel right at home, actually.
Speaking of right at home, so I don't know, Mark, Mike has a history of gift giving with his wife that borders on suicidal. And she just had a birthday here. I think it was, no?
That didn't go over well.
Let's put it this way. One time was it for an anniversary or birthday gift, he gave her a tire rebate from Michelin or something like that.
That was last anniversary. That didn't go over well either. I tried to smooth it over. I thought I'd be funny, and I gave her a sympathy card for her birthday.
Oh, geez.
She didn't think that was funny either.
Oh, yes. So yes, obviously we fit right in. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. I know we've kind of made Jay a little bit quiet because Jay's kind of the newbie to the group. But did you have any questions for Mark, Jay, that you can think of? I know that Jay's a big Vegas fan. Actually, Jay was the first person that I knew that really played craps a lot. And actually, Jay has built a craps table in his basement.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Single dealer setup.
Nice. I love those tables.
Pretty proud of it. maybe not necessarily regulation size, but
Right.
it's nice being the house. I'll tell you that much. Yep, bring your dollar bills, boys.
But anyway, before we move on any further, I do just want to mention the book, the name of the book again. It's Vegas from Fremont to the Strip: How Las Vegas Casinos Evolved. It's available basically anywhere you can buy books. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. Not available on audiobook yet, but if you actually become a Patreon subscriber to 360 Vegas podcast, Mark has actually been posting some of the chapters of the book that he's been recording. Is that correct,
Nice.
Mark?
Yeah, I'm working on the audiobook. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to offer it via Audible for reasons I don't want to get into, but we're looking to release via Patreon all the audiobook, but it's still in the developmental phases right now. Like what you found out, what you saw was actually a mistake. You weren't supposed to say that. That was me testing something that didn't work.
Okay, we're going to cut that in post. Just by the way, Mark, also kind of a rule when we say that we're going to cut something out, it never gets cut out.
I make the same threat on my show all the time.
Yeah, but you have Tony, so sometimes you probably have to make that threat.
Yeah.
But anyway, everybody, like I said, can't recommend the book enough. Can't recommend a nicer person that you could support by purchasing this book either. So if you have the chance, go out and get it, read it, write a good review on Amazon or wherever you get it from, because you definitely deserve it. So
Thank you.
Yes.
4.9 stars on Amazon. No big deal.
No, I'm super psyched about that. Somebody gave me 4 stars, but still, I say this all the time. I was super psyched because we had 9 5-star reviews, and that's all we had. And I'm like, I know the bubble's going to burst because 4 stars is still a very good book. It's something that I really like it. They just didn't love it, But yeah, I saw that one come in the other day. I'm like, oh, we got it.
We dedicated a whole episode to tracking down a 2-star podcast rating.
Yeah.
So if we need to track down your 4-star review,
Right.
we're the guys. We might film it while we're doing it too, just the
There you
walk.
There you go.
and there's absolutely no way to track it down, but we'll definitely try.
There's always a way.
It's just pretty much always Geoff's fault.
Well, that's fair. But yeah, I know, and I had talked with you, Mark, or kind of gave you a heads up on some of the other segments that we like to do. And one of the segments, if y'all are interested and want to continue on with that, is Points to Ponder. It's just a segment where we have some rant. It's kind of like your statement segment on the 360 Vegas podcast where you...
Wait. Do I get to ask Mark a question?
Well, absolutely. Sorry, Mike.
Do you think that casino theming will ever come back?
Wow, what a great question. I don't think it's coming anytime soon. I think it's going to require a visionary. It's going to require somebody who isn't constantly trying to cater to the high end. This is somebody that's going to have to come in and say, I'm going directly for the mid-market. Although to be fair, Venetian is a theme that's on the higher end of things. But
Yeah,
wow,
true.
is theming ever coming back? And what kind of theme would it be?
That's the question.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people have talked about like a vintage Vegas feel. I just don't know how much staying power that would have.
And does that count as theming?
Right. I don't know. I got to pass on that question. That's a tough one.
Although, ironically, you mentioned that, and here we have the news within the last 24 hours that the Cromwell is going to be rebranded as Vanderpump. That just blew my mind. I cannot believe that.
Yeah, it's somebody else talk about it.
That really excites you, doesn't it?
The Vanderpump?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Uh-huh.
I've never watched the show one day in my life.
Right.
I can't imagine theming a whole casino, whether it's a small boutique casino like the Cromwell or a big casino over a reality TV star. Basically, I don't get the staying power of that. There have been, well, look at the Mirage we just lost. That was a great theme, and it lasted for a long time in Vegas standards. It lasted 30 years, a little over 30 years.
Yeah.
but it's still like we had talked about earlier. Vegas is what's next. What's next? And again, I could be wrong. I just don't see that theme or that branding really working out in the long term.
Yeah, I don't get it. I think they're stagnant in that casino. Like if you've been in there, the casino seems to be looking for its identity. I mean, it's got video poker pretty well tapped, but as far as its table games go, I mean, they're still looking for an identity, and I have to agree with you. I don't understand it. The only thing, somebody had brought up something in our Discord, that something to keep in mind is that she's got a huge LGBTQ following. And I was like, that's interesting, because Luxor has kind of cornered that market for a long time. And now that would be a significant upgrade for them at Center Strip. But I just agree with you. I feel if you're going to do it, there's got to be a better brand out there than Vanderpump.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I didn't know Luxor had cornered that market.
Yeah, they've got, specifically during the summer, they've got gay pool parties that they're real proud of. They've been advertising those for years. Tropicana was another one during Pride Week that was really active.
To me, Cromwell, other than obviously when we were filming it, but all the other times I've been to Vegas, Cromwell had always just been a walk-through place for me. You walk through that front,
Really?
come through the escalator, down the escalator from the Skywalk over from by Bally's or Horseshoe, whatever you want to say. And then if it was hot, I would take that little shortcut through that very west end of it to go to Flamingo. It wasn't actually the first time I ever played it, Cromwell, was when you and Alistair took me there to play video poker there at that center bar. Love the center bar there. That was awesome. And I can't remember the name, that waitress, the bartender.
Angelina.
She was awesome. She was awesome. And I would go there. I've been back to the Cromwell since and played video poker there. But it's just like you said, there's just not much else that really draws me there other than that.
Yeah.
So, and in the retheming, not that me not coming there is going to stop them from retheming it, but it's just, I just don't get it.
It was our home base property for a while. I don't know why. It's one of my favorites in the Caesars portfolio. I just have no interest in a Vanderpump brand. Well, like I don't want to stay at it. I don't want to play at it.
So while we're on the topic, what is your favorite property in Vegas, Mark? Favorite to play at, favorite to stay at, if they're not the same place?
Oh, that is very different. Okay, so favorite to stay at's Cosmopolitan, definitely. Those balconies are life-changing. My favorite to play at, so I play video poker a ton. So I like to, like Harrah's has a good, no, Link. Link is probably my favorite right now because they've got the outdoor bar at Rematch. So, and I'm one of those guys that loves 110 degree heat. So the idea of playing video poker outside was magical to me. And so they've got that bar during the summer that I'll go to. And then they've got the Book bar where they've got a great beer selection. What's her name? Catalyst bar. Is another good one. I mean, the one thing about Vegas that you got to understand as a local is that if I want to gamble, like I'm going to go somewhere to gamble. If I'm going to have fun, I'm going down to going down to the Strip or going down to downtown because I'm not looking at like you'll hear people complain about the pay tables and like, oh, that's not what it's about. At least not on the Strip and not on downtown. Like if you're in a locals market, yes, it is. Like I do find 9-6 jacks or better, in at Red Rock. You can find the great games, but they're all local.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have never been to some of those locals casinos. I have that on my bucket list is sometime when I'm there, I'm just going to take a day and I'm just going to hit up the local casinos and just make kind of a tour of it.
I'll take a day off and drive you around.
And there you go. There you go. Actually, when we were there for Vegas vacation, I'd rented a car and I drug Mike and his wife out to Durango. And he's like, when are we going back to the Strip? I'm like,
that's Tony.
I'm like, okay, fine. But yeah, so very interesting.
I'd go if Mark drives us around.
There you go.
Now we got to get Jake.
I was going to say, you got to join us. I got room for 3 in my car.
Come on, Jay.
That would be perfect, actually. How far off the Strip do you have to be to consider it local, Mark?
You mean local gaming market or me as a local?
No, local gaming market.
Oh, I think the local gaming market starts at Rio and Palms and Gold Coast. Anything directly off the Strip is trying to cater to anybody they can whatsoever. And since they're not getting conventioneers, they need locals.
So it's not a half-hour drive off the Strip to be local gaming market in your mind?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, that's on my bucket list now too.
It's that easy.
It sounds like we have a trip planned.
There you go.
We just got to get Jay committed to it.
I'll commit.
Okay.
I do have another question. My youngest daughter is very much looking at UNLV for college, which I've encouraged a bit. Your impression of UNLV as a local?
I love the school. They try to be very local centric. They try to be very community oriented. I think it adds a little bit of class to the city, finer education. But yeah, I love UNLV.
You definitely need to encourage that.
It's a little pricey.
But just think of the rewards. Just think of the rewards if your daughter went to UNLV. You'd have a built-in excuse to go to Vegas anytime you wanted.
Yep. Got to go visit.
Right.
I mean, you'd actually have to go see your kid.
UNLV is great. They try to be community oriented. It's a cool school.
It's not that far off the strip, is it? It's
No, not at all. It's a couple blocks.
Yeah.
You know, the ironic thing about that, and I'm not meaning to jump in on your question there, but if you were concerned about all the vices that you can come across in Las Vegas as a student, you would not believe, and again, very much smaller scale, you would not believe the number of college students that frequent that casino that I work at.
Sure.
Oh, really?
And spend lots and lots of money. So, the thing about it is with gambling legalized almost nationally now, it's almost rare if a state doesn't allow gambling of some sort.
True.
What I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to encourage your daughter to go to UNLV so I have a reason to go to Vegas.
For sure. We can all go visit. Yeah.
Right.
You're right, though. Those vices exist anywhere, but...
And I wonder, and again, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but I wonder with the new studios possibly setting up in the Valley there, how that will affect UNLV. Will they get more opportunities from the standpoint of, students in the proximity of those studios?
You would think so.
Yeah. I mean, UCLA does the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like I told you, Mark, that we talk about, and we kind of jumped into it a little bit there without actually getting into the segment of points to ponder. But usually we come up with a couple open-ended questions, points to ponder. And he was thinking, since, we know a little bit of your background and stuff, do you want to actually ask this question, Mike?
I've got a question for Jay. Have you been counting the ums?
Not technically, no. I usually do that in editing. I will start a counter now.
Okay.
Just a little background on that, Mark. He edited our last episode, and he sent me a minute and a half of just me saying and
just ums
and
oh my god, that's so funny.
And then halfway through it's like, holy shit, and then
Unfortunately, I do it all the time. Karen does it all the time, and I'm the same way. I try to cut him out of the episode. It just drives me nuts when I'm listening back.
Takes hours.
Yeah.
I don't even realize that I do it. That's the problem.
We know.
It's a filler.
You don't realize it because you're the only one that doesn't have to edit it.
That's because also if you had to wait on me to edit it, it would never get released. So if we're being honest here.
Let's move on to some points to ponder.
Best Korn song. Go.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go with Make Me Bad. And that's because of an emotional experience I had with it. I was going through a period of time. I remember I was in Kentucky, and we were hanging out with Tony. He was celebrating Vice Lounge 5 years or something like that. I was going through a really, really rough time, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. I was just angry at everything, and just wanted to get the hell away. And ended up getting into the car, and the song came on, and the words just made sense like they'd never made sense before. And I'm like, holy shit, that's what I'm going through. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I've had experiences like that with other Korn songs before, but that's one of the ones where I remember literally just brought the tears, like going, holy shit, like that's exactly what I'm talking about. I know exactly where you're living.
I think Mark's going to have the right answer. Mark is it fair to say you're a pretty big Korn fan, Mark?
Oh yeah, I could put that right up there with author,
Korn fan. Jay?
For me, and this is not as deep a cut, but it's falling away from me.
Oh, damn you. That was the one I was going to use too.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I was always more of a fan of Freak on a Leash, and I know that that's very mainstream, and that was not like necessarily their best stuff, but it was very mainstream.
Oh, it's a great song.
It is a great
I
song.
saw Korn live about 3 or 4 years ago, and man, you want to talk about muddying the waters of what your favorite song is. When you see them live, it's a totally different experience than listening to them on a radio.
It's so good.
They are very good. I was shocked at how good they were live.
We did a VIP experience once where we went backstage, and part of the whole thing was we got the live recording from the concert that we were at. And that's like, normally those are the kind of things that you're like, oh, I'll listen to it once, but I'm like, no, it's really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I bring that up because I didn't invite Mike, and he was not happy about it when I told him that I'd gone to the Korn concert.
I never get invited to anything.
So what's your favorite Korn song, Michael?
I like Got the Life a lot, but I'm going to say Blind.
Oh, there you go. The original.
Good choice.
I love the build up at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then just the explosion. And
They got a couple of them like that. Like It's On is another one that builds. Freak on a Leash builds.
yep. You just want to punch somebody like Geoff in the face.
Love you too, Mike. I have one. Best rock video.
I can't say Korn again because Freak on a Leash, that whole bullet thing is amazing. But I don't want to use that because that seems like a cop out to me.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah, that was my 1A. I have 1A and 1B, so
Chevelle the Red.
you do like Chevelle.
Yeah, I'm stumped.
My 1B was, and this is for teenage boy Geoff, but Once Bitten, Twice Shy by, was that White Lion or Great White? I don't remember. I always get those two mixed up.
I get them mixed up too. I was gonna
on
say
the car.
I'd like to apologize to everybody for not coming up with any points to ponder and letting Geoff do this.
This one's good conversation, though. I mean, my brain automatically goes back to the glory days of music videos, right? Back in the late 90s.
Right.
This is more of a Gen Z story time, almost.
Almost. That's a good point. You know, videos, if you watch videos today, like they're different. They're more of a production. They're
Right.
a mini movie almost, a lot of them, but much, much different.
You know, one that pops into my mind is Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh,
Just because that really epitomized Guns N' Roses. Like if you wanted to know what it was like to go to a Guns N' Roses show, just watch that music video.
No.
Yeah, agreed.
or Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard, where they had it performed in the round. And then if you've ever listened to, or have you ever gone back and watched their documentaries about, they performed in the round, and half of the time when the drummer was doing the solo, the other people in the band were going underneath, and there was all kinds of stuff going on that
Right.
that was not fit for the general public's consumption. Let's
No.
just put it that way. That was a good video too. I remember that one pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like performance ones that have performance in them, at least.
I don't know. November Rain came to my mind.
That's a good one. Very theatrical.
Even like Thriller, Michael Jackson. That's pretty classic. I don't know if it's the best, but it's classic.
Hit Me Baby One More Time.
It is iconic. I don't know if it qualifies for rock, but
That's a tough one, Geoff. Even if Mike didn't like it, that's a tough one.
I know. Well, like I said, I had a feeling that if I came up with it, it was going to be one that Mike didn't like. So, if we're being honest,
I'd like to get Mark's opinion on a couple things that we've talked about in the past.
okay.
Ooh.
Well, do you eat Pop-Tarts even?
I do eat Pop-Tarts, yes. I have not tried them with butter, and I heard they're magical with butter.
I tell you what, life changing.
Really?
It might end up putting you in the hospital with the clogged artery, but it's still
Right.
it's still pretty fantastic.
So where do you put the butter? Do you put the butter on top of the icing, or do you put
No,
it on the bottom
on the
side?
back. On the
On
back.
the bottom. Okay.
Yep.
Geoff, I hate to be that guy, but I tried it. It's all right.
Oh no.
It's okay.
Part of it was that made it awkward to eat because then you got butter on the bottom and
I agree. But you can't butter the frosting side.
no. I did try it.
I'm going to try it. I'm putting it on the grocery list.
You eat Pop-Tarts. What's the best Pop-Tart? What flavor's your favorite
See, I
flavor?
like when they come out with the specialty ones like s'mores or red velvet cake or stuff like that. Those are my favorite ones.
What was the one that they came out right before we did the episode? I think it was the Boston cream donut.
Yes.
Have you tried that one, Mark?
Oh, it was good.
Was it good?
I did try it too. I think I had in my mind what it was going to taste like, and it wasn't that. So,
it tastes like a candy version of it. Is what it boils down.
That's good enough for me. Got to go find a box of them.
have you ever ate Long John Silver's, Mark?
I have never had Long John Silver's. Karen and I were just talking about this the other day. There's something about fast food seafood that just doesn't sound appealing to me.
100%.
It just doesn't seem like that was the angle that they were missing. Like going, you know why seafood isn't more popular? It's not faster.
But you know what? The thing they were trying to really hit on it is, from a business standpoint, if you make it all taste the same, they don't know if they're eating fish or chicken or what. They just all taste like the batter.
The ironic thing is, I hate seafood, but I love Long John Silver's because they have chicken too.
Oh, okay.
So there's a mind bender for you. He doesn't like seafood, but he likes Long John Silver's because of the chicken.
Right.
Remember those commercials back in the day? The Add a Fish Place thing? It was a famous guy, wasn't it?
No, I don't remember that.
I don't remember that either.
Got to be on the internet somewhere.
Yeah. Maybe next time I'll come. I'll do a little preparation for once. Do they have Long John Silver's in Vegas?
I don't know. I think so.
Checking.
So there was one episode, Mark, that we tried contacting the Earl of Sandwich at Planet Hollywood on the podcast, and it didn't go so well. Nobody answered, but it was worth a try.
We talked to one of them. We just don't know for sure which one we talked to. It might have been the Planet Hollywood one. So one of them called us back.
No, that's right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So here's a question for you, Mike or Mark, or do you like Earl of Sandwich, Mark?
Oh, I love Earl of Sandwich.
Of course he does.
Sweet. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So my thought is, with everything that happened with COVID, is one of my biggest disappointments with Vegas and COVID is how after COVID, you just cannot find, like, part of Vegas to me was the fact that it was nobody ever slept. You had 24 hours a day, you could find whatever you wanted to eat.
Yeah.
And so, part of my concern or thought is that, we love Earl of Sandwich too. And I think part of it is that we love the fact we can eat it anytime we want to.
Mm-hmm.
We like to play at Planet Hollywood and then just, middle of the night, go get a sandwich.
Right.
I don't know. Now I'm hungry for Earl of Sandwich.
Here's a teaser for you. I can literally get it DoorDash to me.
Oh, man. No, that's a dagger in the heart. We actually spent an episode trying to find the bread from Earl of Sandwich, which Mike actually pretty much thinks he found it.
Nice.
Sitting in my freezer right now.
There is one Long John Silver's in Vegas.
Just one.
A little bit west. Let me get you an address here.
You got a pen, Mark. You're going to want to take this down.
Right.
Because he doesn't have Google either.
I didn't already look it up on my phone.
What else would be I hate to even ask what your, there's a whole bunch of generic questions we could ask about Vegas. I've asked your favorite property to stay and play and stuff like that. If you could say there's one thing about Vegas that's unique that most people don't know about, what would you say it is?
There is something for everybody. I know right now a lot of the cheap stuff seems to be going away, but it's just requiring more effort. Is really what it's boiling down to. Vegas is still the place that you can go to and do it on the cheap. It's just not the way that it used to be. You unfortunately have to deal with the resort fees, and you've got nickel and diming here and there, the CNF fees and stuff like that. But there is still value available there if you just look. There's a friend of ours, Alistair, is a master at all the happy hours. And if you take advantage of those happy hours, some of the food that they serve you at those things it's pretty epic.
I can attest to that. You guys took me around to a happy hour one time I was out there with you, and I was blown away by the amount of food that you could get for pretty reasonable prices. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, I think I got to see you eat black cheese when we were on one of those happy hour.
Right.
Update on Long John Silver's. The location is Tropicana and Fort Apache Road, I guess.
Oh, that's not far from me.
Yeah, there's a Hobby Lobby there.
Well, it's a good thing it's not far, because if you do end up getting it, you'll want to be close to home.
Yeah. Close to some sort of restroom. That's correct.
Now, we got Jay to go for the first time in 20-some years?
Had to be 20, 25 years, yeah.
And he said he was pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
Did you go with the chicken?
No, I did a little mixture. Little mixture on the platter. I wanted to sample it all. The coleslaw was great. I'm a coleslaw fanatic.
Oh.
Yeah, everything tasted the same as far as the fryer goes, let's be honest.
Right.
The clientele was exactly what you'd expect. The staff was exactly what you'd expect.
That's half the fun, though. The clientele, the dirtiness of the restaurant.
The stickiness. I'd classify it more as sticky than dirty.
Oh, no, it's got O'Shea's floor.
Excellent comparison.
It's the way we gambled in Nebraska before gambling was legalized. Is like, are we going to get sick when we leave this place, or are we going to get some sort of food poisoning?
The restroom roulette is what we called it there. Gosh, I want to go to O'Shea's now that you said that.
I know that Casino Royale they're talking about it got approved for that big tower, and there are questions about whether it's going to go away. Which one do you miss more? The craps table being right inside the door at Casino Royale, or the craps table at O'Shea's being right on the freaking strip?
Right on the strip. There's something. That's one of the things I love about that video poker at Rematch, is that there's something about being on the strip and seeing all the action going on just right next to you. It's awesome.
At Vegas Vacation, Mike and I and his wife ate at Mon Ami Gabi, and I wouldn't say that the food was that great. It was good. I mean, it was good enough, but the location is just, you can't beat that.
Nope.
It was the best food I ever had.
That's because you've been eating Long John Silver's all this time.
That was because I was drunk.
Nothing better than drunk food, man. Some of the best food I ever had in my life was when I was hammered. And it always disappoints when you go back. Like, these are the best chicken wings ever. Like,
Yeah.
Is O'Shea's still even open?
It's a reimagined O'Shea's that's in the Link Promenade now. It's towards the back. It's like halfway back into the Link Promenade.
Where do you land, Mark, on frozen Baileys? Fantastic or overpriced?
I have not had one yet.
What?
It's another one of those things that I've just got to get taken care of, and I never get around to it. I always forget.
I was going to ask that question as soon as the O'Shea's topic came up, but Mike beat me to it. But my biggest problem with the frozen Baileys, I love them, but much like a lot of things in Vegas, they're at a premium now. The big one that we used to get for about $20 is now I think like $35 or $36, and it's like, is it that good?
When was the last time you were poolside trying to get a drink poolside?
I've never been to a pool in Vegas.
They're astronomical now. Like I remember the last time I was there, I didn't ask. I just assumed, I'm like, yeah, let me get 2 talls or whatever. I mean, in their defense, they come out in these huge containers, but they're like, oh, that's $45. I'm like, for a what?
Wow. Yeah, so maybe I shouldn't be complaining. Do you think the Flamingo pool will be ready by pool season?
Man, I hope so, just because of how magical that is to quickly turn that thing around, because that's just leveled. I mean, and they're working as hard as they can now, and I mean, they did it with City Center, so maybe they could do it with the Flamingo pool.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. You think of the size and scope of those buildings, how fast they can put some of those things up and turn a bare canvas into this huge resort.
Especially when you see people like it's like Ellis Island in their renovation. That thing is taking forever, and it's like, I know people down at Durango that can get that thing done for you in a couple months.
And we've been to Ellis Island. I know that Mike and I have been there multiple times, and I like Ellis Island. Location is a little bit interesting.
It's a challenge.
It is a challenge.
I love it there.
Yeah,
I do. Mostly for the beer. They make their own beer.
Yes.
Real good. Real good.
It's the same thing at Main Street Station with the 777s, having
Sure.
that at the video poker bar.
So that's a place I think is that I need to check out more. I have been in Main Street a couple times. I didn't realize that they had a bar that they brewed their own beer at. That's awesome. And I know, isn't that one of Tony's favorite downtown resorts or casinos?
Absolutely.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that we were able to have Mark on. We want to thank you, Mark, for coming on and talking again about your new book. And I'm going to say the name again. It's Vegas, From Fremont to the Strip, How Las Vegas Casinos Evolved. It is available on pretty much any place you buy your books, Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, all of those places. But again, Mark, thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We appreciate you. Everybody go check out their podcast. It's 360vegaspodcast.com. Some really good people. So
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yes, thanks, Mark. It's the best Vegas podcast and the best Vegas book.
I just like to be in the conversation.
I'm not even blowing smoke. It's true. Vegas podcast. It's 360 Vegas.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all again for listening. If you enjoy our podcasts, or even if you don't, please consider subscribing. You can find us on all major social media outlets at Stripwalking, or by visiting us at stripwalking.com, of course. Also, be sure to check out our special guest, Mark's 360 Vegas social media channels at 360 Vegas on X, on Instagram, and their podcast, of course, 360vegaspodcast.com. Mark, thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you all again for listening, and may all your sevens show on the come out roll. Now that Jeff's gone, maybe we can get a word in. That'd be nice.
the funny thing, and this is me being non-techie, sweet. Yeah. Holy shit. Good. Um, 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 uh, so you think that's the no. And it was an insane amount. Oh god. Oh my gosh. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.